The FIA has confirmed that Red Bull had indeed overspent last year. However, thus far they have neither announced the degree to which Red Bull went over the budget cap, nor have they announced what punishment will be dished out to Red Bull. I'm your host Dillon Shelley, and first up on Formula World, Brundle thoroughly disappointed with FIA not announcing consequences of Red Bull overspend. Former F1 driver turned pundit Martin Brundle, while speaking to Sky Sports, started off by pointing out how the exact value of the infraction hasn't been revealed yet. We're hearing numbers of £1.8 million. Unfortunately, we're not being told that today. We'll have to wait and see. He then revealed Red Bull team principal Christian Horner's reaction. Christian Horner told me it's an interpretation issue on a number of items they thought they were under. It's not, it appears, the great crime that we were being told by other teams in Singapore, so now we await the news. Brundle then explained why the regulations need to be tightened. It needs tightening up because the other teams will be under pressure. The team boss will be saying, "Why didn't you do this? Why don't you overspend a bit and pay a fine or get a slap on the wrist and go a tenth or two faster?" So we need clarity, and it needs to be rigid, and a 5% variance is way too much. He reiterated his disappointment at the lack of information. It's very disappointing that the information hasn't been supplied. Remember, we're talking about the 2021 season, not this season. He signed off by offering a suggestion as to why the FIA is holding back. Presumably, there's some squabbling going on behind the scenes to mitigate this and explain and come up with some reasoning. It's thoroughly disappointing that we've now had this announcement of what's happened, but we don't know the consequences. Fast feed. Red Bull's Max Verstappen doesn't want to take a dig out of anyone, but I think we need better rain tyres. If you saw what we could do in the 1990s or the early 2000s, with the amount of water on the track, there is a big difference to today. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, meanwhile, thinks that a big problem of these cars is just the visibility. So whatever we can do to try and improve the visibility and minimise the spray, especially behind the cars, this will be hugely beneficial. Aston Martin's Sebastian Vettel concurred that visibility is close to none when you're inside the car following with a spray. We're lucky that nothing happened, but we need to understand and make sure that it just mustn't happen. Alpine team principal Otmar Safnauer feels they are deserving of the points they scored in Japan. We move back into fourth in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes driver George Russell suggested that by double stacking in Japan, he was just going to lose all the positions. There's not really much more to say. It was a very frustrating afternoon. I think that was probably at the time not the right thing to do. Nick Tim, Daniel Ricciardo's manager, clarified that none of this is about ego, unachievable demands, or a sudden lack of opportunity. This is about a man who was dealt a bad hand, now finding the right next opportunity. Uncovering a new project where he can work with a team that embraces his unique set of skills. Is the FIA making things worse by not revealing all the details of the budget cap infractions? Head over to my community page to vote in the poll and let me know what you think in the comments. And if you liked this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my others for all the latest in the world of Formula One.